Welcome to week 10, Explore the Bible. Today we continue in the book of 2 Kings. I'm going to be looking at a story of a king, Joash, in the southern kingdom. So we've been northern kingdom, Israel. Now we're in Judah, southern kingdom with this week. So excited about this as we continue. Thanks so much for watching. Please, before we go in, just be sure and subscribe to the channel. Be sure and like, comment, let me know what's going on, share it with others as we continue to spread the word. All right, let's dive into 2 Kings chapter 12. It says, Then Joash said to the priest, all the dedicated silver brought to the Lord's temple, census silver, silver from vows, and all silver voluntarily given for the Lord's temple, each priest is to take it from his assessor and repair whatever damage is found in the temple. Okay, Joash is the new king. He's young, 9 years old when he becomes king. So we don't know what point this happens, but he is a king who does what is right in the eyes of the Lord. He reigns over Israel for 40 years. And so he's a good king for the nation, the southern kingdom, Judah, and does good work. And he's starting here looking at the temple. Now there's been several kings in a row that have not honored the Lord, that have had Baal, prophets and idols and that worship taking place. So the kingdom has really walked away from the Lord. The temple is still there. It's still functioning. The priests are still there. People still give their offerings. It's interesting, isn't it, that there's this worship of Baal that takes place, and yet people are still going through the ritual motions of giving their money to the temple and making sacrifices and things like that. So there's something there for us to think about, right? But he goes to the priest and he says, look, all the silver that's brought in, not sin offering silver, not guilt offering silver, but other silver given for other reasons, for vows that you make, just a free will offering to the temple, census silver, which is their pay every year, all of this money, it's to go to repair the temple. It's to go to repair the things that are broken in the temple. The upkeep hasn't been kept up with. We haven't maintained it. And so we need to go and there's things that need to be fixed. And so this money that maybe you've been using for other things, or you've just been stashing away or whatever, this money is now going to repair the temple. So the king tells them, here's what you're going to do, okay? You repair whatever damage is found in the temple. Seems simple, right? Clear. But by the 23rd year of the reign of King Joash, now remember, we don't know of what year he made these demands, but I mean, it's not hard to think it was probably early on, right? But at 23rd year, the priest had not repaired the damage to the temple. So however long it's been, whether it's been a year or it's been 10 years or whatever, 20 years, they had not done the work that they were supposed to do. They had not repaired the damage to the temple. They hadn't taken care of it. Now, well, let's read on and we'll come back to this. So King Joash called the priest Jehoiada and the other priests and asked, why haven't you repaired the temple's damage? Since you haven't, don't take any silver from your assessors. Instead, hand it over for the repair of the temple. So the priests agreed that they would receive no silver from the people and would not be the ones to repair the temple's damage. Jehoiada is the mentor for Joash, the one that kind of raised him in a lot of ways and mentored him in God's word. And so he's a powerful, positive influence for Joash. But Joash calls him in and all the other priests and says, why haven't you done what I told you to do? And here's the thing. The priests had been doing their jobs all along while the nation was following Baal under the leadership of kings, various kings. But the priests were the ones in the temple that had allowed it to get to this place. So in some ways, Joash, his naivete shows up here, right? These people have allowed it to get in this place. Perhaps if I just tell them, y'all need to fix what's here, they'll fix it. But the truth is they didn't care enough about it to fix it in the first place. They're the ones that let it get there. They're the ones that had been in charge of it, who had been taking the offerings and just doing with it other things. And now he gives them this order, here's what you need to do, and they just keep doing it. They just keep doing what they have been doing. They're the ones who were overseeing it when it fell into disrepair, and they're now given responsibility for the repair. Well, they just kept doing what they were doing. And so it's still in disrepair. They have not done what they were supposed to be doing. well-meaning, maybe good men, maybe, Johanna, a good man, but it didn't matter to them for some reason. It wasn't important to them, and it was important to Joash, and he was the king, so that kind of matters, right? And so he says, well, look, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to keep doing the same thing. Now, boy, listen, how many times do we just keep doing the same thing thinking that it'll get better? I mean, that's kind of what was happening, right? These guys were still in charge, and they just kept doing the same thing, and it never got better. And Joash says, we're not just going to keep doing the same thing because it's not going to get better. This is the definition of insanity, right? So he says, here's what we're going to do. You don't take the silver from the assessors. You don't take it all in. We're going to give it straight to the people doing the work. Then the priest Johanna took a chest. So Johanna takes action here. We don't know if it was because he didn't have the leadership responsibility or because he just didn't see it, but for whatever reason, he had not acted until now. So he took a chest, bored a hole in its lid, and set it beside the altar on the right side as one enters the Lord's temple. The priest who guarded the threshold put into the chest all the silver that was brought to the Lord's temple. Whenever they saw there was a large amount of silver in the chest, the king's secretary and a high priest would go bag and tally the silver found in the Lord's temple. So they established a new process. Processes are processes, right? And sometimes it doesn't matter what it is if you're not working it, but sometimes it does matter what it is. And so what they did is they said, okay, we're going to put a chest out front. As people come in, they get their offering. There'll be people there watching that, and the people will see the money is given to them. It goes straight into the chest, right? It goes there. So that'll be all public. And then when this gets full, the king's secretary, so this is a chief of staff kind of person, the way you may look at that, and the high priest, another person highly trusted, they bag it, they tally it, everything that's found. So they're the ones responsible for counting it. People know the money's been given, they know what it's going for, and now these two people who are highly trusted, who have, you would hope, high integrity. They're responsible now for counting it, taking it out, counting it. And then what happens? Then they would give the weighed silver to those doing the work, those who oversaw the Lord's temple. They in turn would pay it out to those working on the Lord's temple, the carpenters, builders, masons, and stonecutters, and would use it to buy timber and quarried stone to repair the damage to the Lord's temple and for all expenses for temple repairs. So they didn't hold on to it. They would give that to the people doing the work. Here's how much it is. We've counted it. We know how much it is. You now are in charge of this work, and you pay the guys that are doing the work. You go buy the supplies they need, whatever they need, y'all take care of it, keep account of it, and we'll get it done. It seems maybe in some ways you look at it and go, well, that's kind of simple, but clearly it wasn't simple for them because they hadn't done this to that point, right? Whatever, there was grift going on somewhere, people were getting paid, people were making money, but nobody's doing any work, and so they changed their process to make sure people were actually doing the work, and who they trusted where it went, and they made sure the money went to where it was supposed to go. Man, all of this this is so important in every area of life, but certainly in church work, that we're transparent about money, that people know what's going on, that people have the opportunity to see those that they trust take responsibility and act in a way that is of high integrity. And even then, where there's a check on them, where there are other people that know they see it, okay? And that's important because if I consider myself to be of high integrity, I don't mind someone checking me because that gives me protection. If somebody makes an accusation, I can say, well, Joe looked at it and Joe saw it too, and Sam looked at it and he saw it too, and Becky, she saw it, so we've all seen it and we're all in agreement, so you can accuse me, but you have these people that are saying, no, that's not the way it happened, and you all saw the money come in and here it went out and all of that, right? Here's the accounting for it. Extremely important, right? Because it builds trust and it builds confidence and it builds people's willingness to give even more. It said, however, no silver bowls, wick trimmers, sprinkling basins, trumpets, or any articles of gold or silver were made for the Lord's temple from the contributions brought to the Lord's temple. You hear this? We're not making all the frilly stuff. We're not doing all of that. We're working on the building. You're not taking this and getting other stuff that doesn't matter, that's not extremely important. We are trying to repair the temple, and you're wanting to spend it on this thing that we don't need. We've got to use it for this. So that's an important deal, right? Everybody knew how it was spent, and they saw that it was spent for what it was given for. Instead, it was given to those doing the work, and they repaired the Lord's temple with it. No accounting was required for the men who received the silver to pay those doing the work, since they worked with integrity. We saw what was happening. You could tell what was happening. We didn't have to say, well, how'd you spend all that? Because we could tell how they'd spent it. It was there. It was easy to see. Right? The silver from the guilt offering, the sin offering, was not brought to the Lord's temple, since it belonged to the priest. So that what they got. Now the priest took a cut and pay, which they needed a cut and pay. It was they had wasted money for a long time, right? But they still were taken care of. This is really some important stuff here, I think, for us. It's valuable today. We see this so often, how important it is that we take care of what we ought to take care of, and sometimes also to say that maybe if I've been the one in charge of it when it fell apart, maybe I don't need to be the one in charge of it to put it back together. Or maybe I need some redirection. Maybe I need someone to give me a new way of doing it, and then I can take care of it. That's kind of some of the stuff I got out of it. Well, I hope that helps. God bless you. Thanks for teaching. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Be sure and subscribe to our channel. Like, comment, share it with others. We'll see you next time.